My friends, welcome back to this week's weekend special. On this week, I want to work on a viewer request, chicken head knob. A viewer asked me to see what my approach would be to build this chicken head knob. So I looked for several um, examples like what this is. I actually have no idea what this is. So these two pictures looks suitable to use them in my build today. So this is the technical drawing, and it has some dimension in here. Say it says 30 millimeter top to bottom, and the diameter is, the outer diameter is, looks like 16. So I'll have to do some guessing on this one, and the overall height is between 12 and say 16 maybe. So let's go ahead and then start working on this chicken head knob. So my idea is I'll be building this circular portion as a revolve, and then build the other part as an extrusion. So let's go ahead build the circular revolve. Now looking at this picture, it will have some knobs inside for the screw to fit in, I guess. So first thing first, I want to build that circular part, that revolve, and I want to do that on XZ plane. Not exactly that. This is flat surface, and then comes down here. This, then like that. I'm gonna say pretty close. Now this radius, this length, for now I'm gonna go ahead and make that 5 millimeter, but it will be dependent on the hole, on this hole that that's needed. I exactly don't know what diameter that is. It looks like 6 millimeter diameter. All right, 6 millimeter it is then. So it will be 3 millimeter hole actually. And then the outside diameter is 10. So this point, this point, point actually 10. So this line is 8, right? And I'm gonna say these two distance is somewhere between 12.5, the half an inch. And the overall height, we can get an idea. The height is 12.9, 12.5. That height is going to be 12.5. Right, I'm just gonna go ahead and make these two at the same level, and this I'm gonna say 3 millimeter. What else? So this radius is important. I'm gonna go ahead and assign a radius of 25. All right, this is going to be our first revolve. So center part, let's go ahead and revolve it against Z direction. That's our first part. And looking at this picture, I think this inside hole would be a little bigger than that. So we named it as center dome. On this one, So what it did is, actually, I'm going to keep it like that, these two. Then I'm going to say, bring it here, just like that. So this is going to be vertical 6, and this is going to be 4. All right. I think that's a good compromise between this one and this one. We can come back and then do this kind of so take the constraint fillet sketch and say this is radius 2. That's more. We got our first part done, right? And then there is a center part, which is, I'm gonna say it's easy. It makes the knob part easy. And this one is actually hollow in there. And I believe there is a connection between this hole and this vertical hole. So I want to build this part as a hollow part. So we'll worry about that hollowness later on, but let's go ahead and make half of it. So it will be on XZ plane, right? And so the basic shape is this. This is the basic shape that I'm going for. And I'm going to make this horizontal, right? Make this so this radius, for now, let's go ahead and say 25. And I want to make this symmetric by the axis, all right? And say this is 50 millimeter length, so that's 2 inches. And let's say this angle is 66, more than that, say 75. Is that going to be a little bit bigger? Maybe I want to make this 40. And then I want to say constraint preserving sketch fillet and make this radius say 7.5. Yes. And do the same on this. So I'm essentially adding another curve in here in between. And this radius, I'm going to say 7.5. And then this height, I want to say this height is between these 2 points. This height is 15, right? So this is the only degrees of freedom left. So I'm going to say between these two, height is minus 7.5. So we got that. Okay. And I'm going to say this I want to extrude. For now, let's say 10 millimeter. I want to taper it for 10 degrees. Apply. Well, that's not the taper that I wanted. So let's go ahead and make that 0. And then I want to say, I want to make it symmetric. So what I wanted was, I want to make this kinda narrow on this side. That is okay. For that, what I can do is I can draw sketch, right? So I can draw another sketch on XY plane, and let's say I want to keep this line as my reference, this line, and I want to draw the boundary that I want to keep. Let's see the section view. I want to say these 2 points are symmetric by this axis line, and I want to say this height is 5 millimeter, right? And I want to extrude that up by, doesn't matter, 50. Too much, 20. But the point is, I want to keep the common part between these two. Yeah, that makes more sense. Now, what I want to do, so this, as you can see, there is a hole in here, there is a hole there, and there is another hole in there too. So that's a lot of holes. What I can do is I can make this as a hollow part, right? Just like that. And so that's all the holes are taken care of in that case. So that is interfering with our center hole. I don't want to keep that part at all. So tell you what, let's make it -1 or even 1.5. All right. And then what I want to do, I want to embed this part within this part. All right. So I want to use the embed tool. I want to say this is the, and so I want to embed this one into this one. So this will be cut. Select this and say embed. So what it did is this part is cut enough to fit in the second part that we selected. So that takes care of this hole and this hole. Not exactly the same thing, but it works, and that's all we want. Okay, the only thing left is this hole that I believe goes through that center hole. Maybe it doesn't actually give a good sense. So what I'm going to do is I want to take a cylinder, right there, transform that just like that. Maybe bring it down a little bit. I want to bring it down all the way there. All right, and keep it there and extend the height enough so it comes out. Now I can say take this embed and take this cylinder second and make a cut. So there is a hole that goes through and comes out here. Essentially that's it. That's the chicken head knob. But I believe there is another detail that I'll have to work on. There is a notch. There is just a little bit notch in here. Um, we can use that easily from, okay, I'm gonna say from the handle. Yes. So what I want to do is I want to make this sketch visible and make everything else hide. Okay. So I will have to create a notch from around this point to that. I want to use this curve as my guide. And it will be another new sketch. So let's go ahead and build another sketch on this XZ plane. Right? And I want to pull in this line, this curve, and this. So let's go ahead and mimic this part. Okay, I want to make these two equal and these two equal. And now what I want to do, I want to make that notch just a tiny little bit. Let's say 0.5 millimeter. So let's take this curve. I could have cloned this sketch, but anyway. So this one, I want to make it like this. So this is an angle. I want to say this is 39 or 45. There. All right, and this length, oh, let's make this tangential first. And let's make these two equal. These two. All right, so now making them equal space. How to do that? How can I do that? Okay. One way to do it is make line between these two. Obviously construction geometry, and make these two. So take these and take the centers, point on constraint, and make these two. Okay, so that worked like a magic. Alrighty, let's hide this. I want to extrude this, so I'm gonna say sketch notch. I want to extrude that for say 1 millimeter on both sides, and I want to taper that for 2 degrees. I close. Now this tapering is that work fine. How about 5? That's not what I want, so let's forget about it. All right, so that's our notch, and let's bring back our original object. Take this cut and take this notch, rename that notch. Take the cut, take the notch, and make another cut. There. That's our notch. I think that's it. That's the object. It does look like the object. There are some beautification in here that actually really not that important. But that's the chicken head knob to me, at least the basic. Hopefully you enjoyed this process. I promised in one of the previous videos that I will be making a mic stand, and then I got this news that there is a new workbench under development which is way better than any of the assembly workbenches that we have, like A2 Plus and Assembly 4. There is a new integrated workbench under development. OnSale is developing, which will hopefully come out soon. So I am not putting any more effort in learning into A2 Plus or Assembly 4 right now. So that project is on hold for now. When the new assembly workbench comes out, we will give that another try. But for now, hopefully you enjoyed this chicken head knob. If you have any questions or suggestions how to improve this process, please let me know in the comment. Those comments are always inspiring for me. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.